9895.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Navigating COVID while protecting yourself can be difficult. Fortunately, there's a hotline you can call with any questions. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on vaccines, booster shots, and testing sites. Right now, booster shots are available to anyone over the age of 18 for those who are eligible. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline can also help with housing, food, medical, and educational support. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19, vaccinations, booster shots, or testing, please call 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulia. Clear tonight with a low of 57, then sunshine on Friday with a high of 79. Crooners is back after an exciting renovation featuring a new dining room, the brand new Maggie's Lounge, and expanded main stage seating. That's Crooner Supper Club, just north of 694 off Highway 65 in Fridley. More at croonersmn.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade, which means distant thunder. My colonized name is Robert Pilot, and we discuss local and national Native news and events. And as you know, Wendy, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Native Roots Trading Post. We will be at the Minnesota State Fair starting Thursday, August 25th through Monday, September 5th, and we are excited.
Yes, we are, definitely, and we're getting the word out there. And, we talk to our vendors at Wendy, and that's what they say. You got to get the word out there. You got to get the word out.
We're going to have so many good things to sell.
Wow. Hey, so beautiful day. I was at the powwow grounds with all my relations farmers market, and we're going to have a quick guest, Allicia, and we're going to talk about some exciting things real quick. What's happening at St. Cloud State, and then we're also going to have Robert Lilligren on, and then I do believe we're doing a sacred animal section.
We are.
Wow, I can't wait. And without any further ado, let's go with Ogama with the news that you don't hear anywhere else, Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
Ayanin Buju, everybody. I'm Ogama Ganuakwe. I'm a citizen of the Red Lake Nation in northern Minnesota, and I have some news for you here on Native Roots Radio. I'm going to start out a little local in the Twin Cities. Robert and Wendy, have you heard about the flyers that went around earlier this week spreading anti-Semitic language in Hopkins, St. Louis Park, and Minneapolis?
Goodness, no, I have not. Tell
No.
me about
Oh, they
more.
were terrible. So there were these flyers that went out in these communities, and they played into the trope that Jewish people control mass media and included names and photos of Jewish CEOs and executives and a Star of David. And they were found on people's porches on Monday morning, placed in plastic bags and then weighed down by like dried corn. So the flyers are just this part of this propaganda of hateful people who are basically saying that they're trying to claim that 6 Jewish corporations control 96% of the media. So in Minneapolis or in the Twin Cities, the Jewish Community Relations Council of Minnesota and the Dakotas issued a statement saying that they condemned the distribution of the propaganda flyers across the Twin Cities. And basically, I think it's funny, the St. Louis Park mayor got one, and his name is Jake Spano, and he gave a statement to KARE 11 and said that he'd been in contact with residents of Multiple Faiths today and said that whatever the people spreading these hateful messages think they are accomplishing in dividing people is actually having the exact opposite effect, which is really good to hear. And it's still a developing story. I believe the Star Tribune, KARE 11, all of those different places have touched base on this in the local media. But the reason that I bring that up is because the Oglala Sioux Reservation, Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, had a Christian mission that they actually banned from the reservation after distribution of hate materials. They distributed materials that said Jesus, Hebrew, not white, true God is greater than Tunkashila, demon idol. It also asked, what did Russell Means, Crow Dog, and Black Elf believe? And it's just really just this terrible pamphlet that they distributed around the Oglala Sioux Tribe's reservation at Pine Ridge. The president of the Oglala Sioux Tribe issued a statement demanding that this church, it's the Jesus is King mission, leave the Pine Ridge reservation after the pamphlets were distributed, and that it's unacceptable and disrespectful, and it is the view of the president and the council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe that these pamphlets seek to promote hate instead of peace, and that hate has no place on Oglala land. So I just wanted to make people aware that these types of things are starting to happen now as we get closer into election season, as we are seeing these divisions that are happening when it comes to reproductive rights. And these things are hateful, and that we need to be aware that these things are alive and well in our communities, as hard as it may be to believe that.
Yeah, it's really sad. And the problem is too that, people putting that propaganda out there, it's scary to think that there will be people who will believe that.
Right. That's exactly it. The people who are distributing it already believe it. And they have tools at their disposal to do these hateful things and send out these hateful messages, and they are recruiting people to believe their hateful messages. And it's very, it strikes a lot of fear, I think, for a lot of us, but there are, like in the Twin Cities and on the Oglala Nation, they're being responded to, I think, in a very good way. So I just want to make people aware of those. I want to cover a little bit of world news, if I could too, Robert. Did you hear about the Australian environmental report yet?
No, but let us have it.
The Australian environmental report is dismal, everybody. It says that more than 100 animal species have gone extinct or have been placed on the endangered species list. Their ecosystems are plagued by invasive species. There's temperature and sea level problems. There's been coral bleaching, and then there's also been floods and wildfires that have ravaged the country there. It basically states that Australia's state of the environment is poor and deteriorating. The Australian Prime Minister for the Environment said that their waters are struggling and so is the land, and that if they continue on the trajectory they are on, the precious places, landscapes, animals, and plants that they think of when they think of home may not be there for their children and grandchildren. It was a really big call to action. But the important thing about this story, and this is coming from Indian Country Today that initially covered this, is that Indigenous Australians were actually recognized in this state of the environment report that was released. It's on the website. It says combining scientific, traditional, and local knowledge, Indigenous and non-Indigenous people have worked together to create the first holistic assessment of the state of Australia's environment. And they actually have a little alert when I went to the website to find out more about this. It says at the bottom, it says Indigenous people should be aware that voices and statements on here may have been made by people who have passed on. Which I think is kind of a nice, like almost like a trigger warning in a way. There's an Ojibwe language dictionary here, and I know somebody's voice on it. And every time I hear their voice on the translation when I go to look up a word in Ojibwe, it hurts my heart a little bit. So for them to, in Australia, to put out this state of the environment at a national level for Australia and to acknowledge the input of the Indigenous and Aboriginal people there is amazing. But it's totally unfortunate that they waited until, what did they say? The state of the climate there is poor and deteriorating before, they involve the Indigenous people for this state of the environment. And I'm concerned that may happen here in the United States as we get closer and closer to further environmental problems fueled by climate change here in the United States. How are you feeling, Robert, Wendy?
I'm like reminded of the story. What I heard was that monarchs now are on the endangered species.
Well, I think it's here in the United States. We might not have come out with a official statement of it, but it's happening here as well. So
yeah, definitely.
Mother Earth is in a poor state right now.
Well, Mother Earth will heal itself. It'll be here for billions of years. It's us and our relatives that should be aware of what's going on. So, hey, we have Robert Lilligren today, and also a quick little interview with Allicia. We're going to talk about some offerings at St. Cloud State, and so we're really excited. We'll be right back after this short break, Wendy.
Stay with us. Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
COVID levels may be falling, but the virus is still around. Stay healthy and up to date on your COVID vaccinations and boosters. Right now, everyone 6 months and older is eligible to get a vaccination, while everyone 5 and up is eligible for the booster shot. Plus, you're eligible for a second booster if you're over 50 and received an initial booster dose at least 4 months ago. Find a vaccination site by calling 651-304-9986 or visit vaccineconnector.mn.gov. This message brought to you by the Native American Community Clinic.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
Hey, before we get to our guest, Robert Lilligren, we have a special guest here that I ran into today, Wendy, at the market by the powwow grounds, all my relations market, and I just thought this is a red alert. We got to get her on right away because she's got some really important information to bring out there. Allicia, introduce yourself and let's talk real quick here about how we can help you in St. Cloud State.
Yes, hi. Thanks for having me. My name is Allicia Waukau-Butler. I'm Menominee and Navajo, and I live here in the Twin Cities, more specifically West St. Paul. But I am currently working for St. Cloud State University, and I'm a recent graduate of SCSU.
That's awesome. Hey, and so we're talking about St. Cloud State University and Lower Sioux Indian Community Teacher Preparation Partnership. And that was hard for me to say, by the way. But we want to get it all out there at Turtle Island because you got some important information for this upcoming season or school year.
Yes, yes. We're currently recruiting for 10 to 12 individuals who are American Indian and have already some, community college or tribal college credits that they've earned, or even an AA, and they want to finish out and become a Native teacher. At St. Cloud State, we really believe that we need more Native teachers because every student deserves a Native teacher, not only Native students, but any student, especially in Minnesota and nationwide. But the SCSU has created this grant scholarship that if an individual comes, they're expecting it to be 2 to 3 year program. Everything is paid for, board, school board, tuition, childcare is also another one. Which isn't usually covered, but it is during this time. And you can work up to 20 hours, but not full time during this program. But they are trying to create as many, supports and wraparound services for the students who come, including each semester. The students will be participating in a Native seminar. And this is exactly similar to Native seminar that I participated in when I went to SCSU. And during that seminar, it'll be focused on education. So in my experience, we were given a book or a reading that we did for that week. And we read that chapter. Usually it dealt with minorities in education. And we talked about our experience, how that's going to impact our experience as a teacher, and how do we want to influence others to come up in the educational system. So SCSU is really making strides to support our minority communities, especially the Native community, and they see that we need more teachers of color, especially here in Minnesota.
That's awesome. How do we get a hold of you and get in touch with you? Because we're all over Turtle Island, and I want to remind everyone, because I asked you this earlier, is that anyone across Turtle Island can apply for this, which is really exciting as long as you're Native.
Yes, and you don't have to be enrolled yourself, but a tribal descendant. So through your grandparents, which is also a big leg up, because I know a lot of other Native people who aren't enrolled. Maybe they're just a smidge below the blood quantum, but it's through descendancy. So you can be enrolled. Tribal preference is given, and anywhere you can enroll into the TPP program, which is the Teacher Partnership Program. And you apply to St. Cloud State. and you can attend how you choose. So, for example, if you need to take a course, you look that up in the course catalog online, which is our D2L system. And if you see that course is offered either hybrid, online, or in person, then you would sign up for which class that you wanted to take. So it just varies on what classes are being offered and how they are each semester, just like any other course, but how you choose to attend is up to you. And then I believe that the Native seminar will be virtual because, they'll be serving students all over, the state and the country and however they want to attend.
Wow, that's exciting. And again, how do we get a hold of you?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Or, or oh, how, or little talk to you. But what's your email? Or do you go to the website or?
Yeah, the best way would be an email, which would be allicia.waukau-butler, BUTLER, at stcloudstate.edu.
Wow, perfect. I really appreciate you jumping on because when I heard, and it's interesting too. When I talk, your sister's been on our show many times, and it's like your voice sounds just like her, so it's like crazy. But I was red alert, and I wanted to get you on here, and everyone, we'll bring this up again later in the show, but also we rebroadcast this on iTunes, Spotify, and you can see it on Facebook Live if you lost that email. But Allicia, thank you so much for stopping in this last minute. But I thought it would be very important for you to come on. So we really appreciate it.
Well, I really appreciate it too. And you can also go to St. Cloud State and the American Indian Center. And under student resources are both the scholarships that we're offering for Native students, both undergraduate and graduate. And in case maybe you spelled my name wrong or anything like that, that can happen. But yeah, we look forward to having as many Native students as possible.
Before we get to Robert, Ogama has a quick question.
I just want to let everybody who is watching online know that if you check the comment section for where you might be watching us, you should be able to find a link that Allicia shared with me before the show started. And you should be able to just click that link and it'll bring you right to that page at SCSU's website that she was talking about. So that link is in the comments for people who are watching us online.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Allicia, thanks again. And we'll have you on again real soon and get an update, okay?
Wonderful. It's great to be here.
All right. Peeny Gigi. Wow. We're just like on top of things here, Robert. Welcome. We're with Robert.
I'm impressed. Yeah.
CEO of Native American Community Development Institute. And we always touch base with you once a week whenever one of us aren't on vacation. So welcome, and really appreciate you coming on. It was good to see you, even though it was for a fleeting minute today. But
yep.
It's good to see you and make sure that we're all still alive, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Bonjour, Robert, Ogama, Wendy, so nice to be here. So thanks for having me. And thanks for doing that that segment just before this. And I just think that's amazing how quick you are to respond and what a huge service that is for the community. So miigwech for what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that. And, she was with her sister handing out pamphlets, which your organization puts on that great, that great farmers market once a week. And it's amazing because it's community too. It's not only getting some veggies, but it's community. And that's a great example.
It is. It's like a happening, right? It's just a great place to check in with the community. And those Waukau sisters, man, all of them are really engaged. And so Allicia's sister Allison works for the Hennepin County Library System. And so she was there representing, and she's just done great work at bridging the library system into the community rather than the library sort of expecting the community to come to them. They've really taken this approach. The Franklin Avenue Library, which is right on the American Indian Cultural Corridor, had a pilot project a few years back that was about leaving the library and really being in the community. And Allison Waukau has been carrying on that legacy, and she's doing a great job. And we got to support these Native women mostly who are in these liaison positions, because they're vulnerable, right? They're in institutions that weren't really designed for Native people, and so we got to make sure we're always supporting these Native sisters.
Well, Allison told me too that now I've met all three, because I guess her younger sister worked for the lieutenant governor, right?
Yep. They're engaged. It's a very engaged family.
Yeah, definitely. So we got like just a minute here, and before we have to take a break, but I thought it'd be really important, and I appreciate you letting us get this important message out there, Robert.
Oh yeah,
we love and we enjoy talking to you, and it's kind of a free for all, but I think that's part of the charm of Native Roots Radio. The only thing that's really well, Wendy does a lot of research before the show, and Ogama does, but Bobby P not so much.
Yeah. Same here. Like I said before, when I used to be on, I think it was your Saturday show, wasn't it? And I would spend literally an hour or more researching, putting together points, data, things like that. And in this format, we're a little freer, I think I told you when I saw you earlier this week that we should just call this two old farts talking, because that's kind of what it is. but we have fun.
I remember when.
Right.
Exactly. Well, hey, that's I want to talk about the new coffee shop opened up in Maplewood and other things
in Roseville, huh? Roseville.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll be right back after this short break. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Stay with us.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more. Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hi, Minnesota. This is David Packman. You can hear my show every weekday at 2, right after Tom Hartman on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. Over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
Hi, this is Chad from AM 950. Snap Construction is arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, window, and insulation contractor in the metro. Ryan is so excited about working with AM 950 and our listeners that he wants to help us grow.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. I was friends with Chad long before I started marketing with him. I was a bit skeptical of radio advertising before Chad convinced us to run ads. The advertising's been so successful, we want to help the station grow. We've absolutely loved working with the listeners of AM 950, and we all know how extremely important this radio station is to the community. To help AM 950 grow this summer, Snap Construction will be putting up proceeds to assist the station in marketing on social media. Snap Construction encourages you to follow, engage, share, and interact on the AM 950 social media platforms. Together, we can all work to ensure AM 950 continues to thrive and grow in our communities. We stand by our work with a lifetime craftsmanship guarantee. For a free estimate or more information on our financing, call 612-333-SNAP or check us out online.
If you're like most people, you've probably noticed your energy bills are going up and going up fast. Unfortunately, that's not likely to change anytime soon. So if high utility bills have you seeing red, see green instead by locking in an energy rate with All Energy Solar. Switching to all energy solar gives you peace of mind knowing your energy costs won't be rising along with fossil fuel costs. Solar panels last 25 to 30 years, giving you a good idea of where your energy is coming from for decades to come. Plus, a system from All Energy Solar could save you even more with net metering. With net metering, extra energy generated by your solar panels is sent back into the energy grid in exchange for credit on your electric bill. Those credits pay for your energy use on days when solar production is low or your electricity use is high. So declare your independence from the fossil fuel industry by switching to All Energy Solar. Get a free, no obligation assessment from All Energy Solar by calling 800-620-3370 or visiting allenergysolar.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulia. Clear tonight with a low of 57, then sunshine on Friday with a high of 79.
Get paid to upgrade. Warner Stellian will buy your appliance for $50 during our trade-in sale. No one else saves you more time from shopping to free professional delivery like Warner Stellian. Put us to the test. Shop Minnesota family-owned WarnerStellian.com.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Great work they do. Wow, Robert, you know, I kind of want to start out talking a little bit. I ran into a couple days ago, and, you know, one of the reasons why I have a job as a legislator for Ho-Chunk Nation is because of the person we're about to talk to and yourself. So it's kind of ironic, too. You gave me a lot of pointers and helped me a lot. And I know Reverend Marlene got on the moccasin phone calls to all our relatives, but let's talk a little bit about her. I know we talked about her earlier this week, but you know her really well, and her church is right off the avenue, and she's I give a little perspective of who this lady was.
Yeah, and so some of our listeners might not know from out of state, but she was just a giant here in our community. And so we're talking about the Reverend Marlene Hagemo. She was pastor right here in Minneapolis of All Nations Indian Church. She happens to be the first Native woman ever ordained in UCLA Church, or the Lutheran Church, right? And but really, she's an incredible help to you to get elected. I mean, what she did is she went around and helped people, right? She helped advance people. She helped lift people into leadership, to mentor people. And she was so energetic, and she was everywhere. She worked on a national scale. She worked on the most local scale. And she was very important to me in kind of keeping me moving, keeping me, moving in leadership. She was a very huge cultural carrier, cultural teacher for me, and she's just going to be an incredible loss. But she was a person who used her leadership, used her positions to help bring others along, and she really understood how to amplify her impact by making sure that she was supporting people younger than her into leadership positions. Amazing person, amazing woman, a huge loss to the community.
Yes. Yeah, I'm still sad about it, and we have a lot of things. We have general council coming up this Saturday, and I normally would sit by her and she would tell me what to do.
Yeah, so she was your Ho-Chunk sister, right? So she was a Ho-Chunk, and she was just this incredible person. And her service was at Central Lutheran, which is this enormous, the big Lutheran church in Minneapolis. I mean, there are a lot of them, but that's the big one right downtown. It was a beautiful service, worthy of someone like Marlene. Our lieutenant governor, my whiter sister, gave a eulogy. There was lots of references to two things. One, her purple eyeshadow, right? And Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, Peggy, had some purple eyeshadow in there. All the women were out, before they went in, putting on this signature purple eyeshadow that Marlene wore all the time. When we were at Standing Rock, kind of roughing it, in the morning she'd come out and she'd have the purple eyeshadow in place, And then the other thing was kind of what I'll kindly call, in a friendly way, her bossiness, right?
Yeah.
I was one of what our dear friend Mike Gozi of the American Indian Community Development Corporation called Marlene's minions. You
Yep.
know, Marlene told you to do something, you just did it. You didn't question, you didn't ask, you didn't argue. You just did what she told you to do because she was telling you to do the right thing, right?
Right.
And so proud to be a Marlene's minion.
Right. And I'd be in a meeting with her just recently. She would say, I think our legislators need to do ... And it's like, oh, okay, there's no guessing there.
Right. That means you're going to do it, right? I think they need to. But that was, you know, a really effective style of leadership, right? She had allowed her to move in all of these different groups, environments, ecosystems that she worked in and really have impact, you know. I think you should do this. There were enough minions in that ecosystem to start doing it, right? And then she'd go over, I think you should do this. People would start doing it. I think you should do this. I mean, it really moved the ball forward. And I will forever be grateful for all the things that she taught me and did for me, and I will forever miss her.
Yeah, me too. And it's very sad. You spoke of the lieutenant governor. I talked to her a little bit as her and Tom were leaving her husband. They were going to see, they were going to a coffee shop that just opened up in Roseville. Have you been out there yet? That sounds really exciting.
I think so too. It sounds super exciting, and I have not been there yet, but I will be. My husband's from Roseville, and he's still very kind of Roseville based, so we do a lot of grocery shopping out there and stuff. So I'm sure we'll get there. But yeah, it's Jamie Becker Finn, who is a state legislator, right? And she just opened a coffee shop in her town of Roseville. It's called Muckwa, you know, which bear, black bear, and it has a definite native vibe, right? She sells coffee drinks with maple syrup in them. She sells wild rice from her home reservation, and I think she's a Leech Laker. I'm just kind of looking real quick to see if I can
I
find
think
that.
she is too.
So that, you know, that's kind of her family tradition, but it's an independent coffee shop that locally sources its coffee and tea, and I'm really looking forward to going. Have you been there? Have you and Wendy been there yet?
Oh, I you know me, I have to take I'm at that age where I have to take a little nappy before the show, and I was getting right into it after the funeral, and it's like
right.
I'm going, should I go to Roseville or should I take a nap? And you know, I took the nap.
Right. Well, you could have had coffee that would energize. Yeah, so you wouldn't need the nap.
Good point. Hey, let's segue into the passing of the Inflation Reduction Act. I think that's so important. And finally, we got Manchin jumping aboard. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's amazing. You know, it's not the Build Back Better. It's not the $500 billion investment in emissions reduction and in reducing emissions, but it's still pretty big, right? It's what, 369 billion, something like that. It passed. It's the biggest climate action in history. Actually, people are saying in the history of forever. But I mean, at least it's something, and at least it's showing that, you know, holding even slight majorities in the Senate and in the House, you can get something done. And so it's going to be big. You know, it's a 40% reduction of emissions by 2030. It's not the 50% that the president was looking for, but again, it's something. And yeah, and it's kind of interesting the way it passed, right? And the Senate had just acted on what is it, like microchip legislation in Chinese microchip legislation, and the Republicans were clear they weren't interested in anything that had to do with reconciliation and passing anything. And of course, that's the way you can get stuff passed with fewer than 60 votes in the Senate. And so it's more of a budget question. And so then it was kind of a blindside, I think, to McConnell, the minority leader in the Senate, and it's finally like, yeah, that's how you use a majority, you know. So it's kind of exciting that way, and it makes me wonder what else might get passed.
Yeah, really good point. And I think too, you know, we're not on regular media here. We're on progressive stations across Turtle Island here. and we'll be on quite a few more starting in August. But you don't hear from the press that, I was in Wisconsin yesterday, and the gas is down to $3.99. You only hear
Right.
when it's like $5.99.
Right.
And it's gone down. And one of the things too, Robert, that I pay attention to is the barrel is way down. The price of a barrel of oil is way down. But so we're still getting, hit by the oil companies with high prices, and they're making record
Profits.
profit.
Yep, it's gouging, right? That's what they're doing,
Yeah.
and it's shameful, really, and that they can do it. It's amazing to me. But there's a lot of economic indicators that are kind of positive, employment and things like that.
Right.
And so I do think it's important to be lifting those up. We're heading into a really critical election cycle that I think is going to be weirder than anyone, even than 2016 and 2020, and so. I think it's hard to predict, for me anyway, what's going to happen in November.
Yeah.
But we need to be really lifting up these positive indicators.
Yeah, we definitely do. And I was I'm going to be in Madison doing the show, and the owner of the station was hoping it wasn't next week because Trump's going to be there. And I'm going, oh my God.
Oh man.
I didn't. Wisconsin firing up the masses for the Republican candidate that he chose for governor.
Right, and I think that's more of a challenge, right? His platform gets smaller, his megaphone gets smaller. The network news don't carry, live coverage of his rallies. Even Fox News is wavering on carrying those, and so he's speaking to a smaller and smaller group, right? And that's kind of what I thought would happen after he lost the election in 2020. The goal is to kind of bring more people under the bell, right? It's not like you have to get everyone there, but the more people you can kind of peel away, the better I think the elections will look in November.
That's awesome. And I remember telling Wendy in 2016 in each primary that Trump won that he's not going to win the next one. No way. And so I'm not calling anything anymore.
It's too hard, right? And right, with unpredictable foreign interference in our elections and all these variables that we didn't used to have to calculate, it is hard to call. It is, but again, I think that's why it's incumbent on progressive people to counter that narrative and to bring those positive things forward. And I think this Inflation Reduction Act, the sort of Build Back Better Act light, is a great example.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We got less than a minute, and I just want to see if you can put in for like 30-40 seconds what you did in a foreign country and to let everyone know where you were.
Yeah, I was in Berlin last week, and it was part of the German Marshall Fund, if folks are familiar with that. But it was a conference called Cities Fortifying Democracy. It's a cohort I've been part of for almost 2 years, and there's 6 U.S. cities, 6 European cities represented, and it acknowledges that democracies are under attack worldwide, and that cities really are on the front line of protecting and defending democracies. And so we've been together, we've been talking how to sort of share information, share ideas, how to just be resources for each other, so that at the municipal level that we are defending democracy. And man, I will tell you, every appointed and elected official that was part of this fairly small cohort of folks is passionate about defending democracy, promoting democracy. And so it kind of gives you hope, right? That all is not lost. And then it's up to us on the local level to really promote democracy, fair elections, get people to the polls, hold elected officials accountable.
Perfect. Wow, what a way to end this, and congratulations on that great trip. And thank you so much, as always, for stopping in.
Yeah, my pleasure. Man.
That was Robert Lilligren, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us. J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
College textbooks have never been more expensive. In fact, textbook costs can make college unaffordable to many prospective students. That's especially true for Native Americans. But a new initiative called Course Breaks wants to help with textbook costs for Native American students. Course Breaks partners with book publishers and tribal colleges and universities to provide free textbooks. But Course Breaks needs your help to continue their mission. Become a donor to help Indigenous students continue their education. To discuss a corporate or private contribution, visit coursebreaks.com.
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
All right, who hit the wolf? Was that you?
I am the wolf.
Oh, cuckoo, kichu. Oh, no, that's walrus. Sorry about Hey, Wendy, where are you? I don't see you.
I put my camera off.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to introduce my awesome and beautiful wife who put the camera off. She's an animal advocate, and I've learned so much from almost 6 years of you with your animal segments each week. So welcome, and Pinigigi for always talking in a good way.
Yeah.
Sometimes Fridays are a little scary, but lately, but
Tomorrow's going to be a fun day.
Okay.
All right.
Promise?
I promise.
All right, cool. Take it away, Wen.
Hey, everyone. My name is Hanaji Hihani. That means cares for them, and I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level, and it's always my pleasure to do that. I'm going to be talking about one of our sponsors, our most loyal and long-term sponsor here on Native Roots Radio, Howling for Wolves. They're a wonderful organization. That was fun. Dr. Maureen Hackett is the founder of Howling for Wolves, and I just want to talk a little bit about what's going on and what's at stake. So the new Minnesota DNR draft wolf plan contains wolf hunting and trapping and research on killing wolves to attempt to save moose. These are buried deeply in the plan's pages. There's like 50 pages about killing these wolves. And there's lots of stuff hidden in there. But the bottom line is that the DNR can kill wolves and have a wolf hunt when wolves are no longer protected by the Endangered Species Act. Everyone needs to comment. And the good thing is that out-of-state residents are welcome to do this and welcome to help us in our fight to keep our Minnesota wolves alive and safe. So how can you help? It says here to take 15 minutes to fill out the survey. I'm not going to lie to you. The survey that the DNR has on their website, and that we need everyone to go on Howling for Wolves Take Action page. So Howling for Wolves Take Action. Go on there. And the great thing about it is that Dr. Maureen Hackett put on a really easy way for you to go on this survey and to fill it out. It's going to take more than 15 minutes. So please have patience and do it. And I really believe that the DNR did this on purpose so that people will just be like, forget about this. I'm not going to fill this out and tell you why we should save our wolves and that I don't want our wolves to be killed. They made this survey so difficult that people are just going to forget about it and walk away. So fill out the survey if you can. The DNR, no, they don't want you to do this.
Right.
So take the time today to do it. The deadline is Monday, August 8th at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you could go on www.howlingforwolves.org /take action.
Oh,
yeah, exactly. And if you just go on Howling for Wolves, Take Action, if you just Google that, it'll bring you the information on that. And I just want to read a press release that was also written by Howling for Wolves. It's a wolf forgiveness bonus program, and it came out on July 26th. And you could also contact Maureen Hackett. She is the founder of Howling for Wolves. So let's see here. What does this say here? St. Paul, Minnesota, Howling for Wolves, HFW, a Minnesota-based nonprofit wild wolf advocacy organization, has launched the Wolf Forgiveness Bonus Program. And what this is Minnesota livestock producers who suffer a suspected predator loss within Minnesota's current wolf range and choose not to engage a trapper will be eligible for direct payment that is in addition to any government indemnity payment. Predator losses within wolf range, as well as atypical cases outside the defined wolf range, will be considered on a case-to-case basis. The Wolf Forgiveness Bonus Program is an opportunity for Howling for Wolves and livestock producers to find common ground. Eligible producers will contact Howling for Wolves directly to initiate the process for payment of $600 per calf and $750 per adult. So Howling for Wolves does not want these livestock producers to go and find a trapper to kill the wolves. They want to work with these livestock people and give them money for their losses. And, Howling for Wolves is so convinced that there are very little killing of livestock, but if there is, hey, let's pay the person for their losses and let's leave the wolf alone. We don't want to kill the wolf.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, Wendy. Like, it's so rare that wolves kill livestock to begin with,
Exactly. It really is. It's crazy. And I just wanted to tell a little bit about the gray wolf. Wolves are pack animals that live in small groups formed mostly by family members. The alpha male and alpha female are the only members to have pups, and the entire pack raises the pups. Occasionally, a second female will have a litter with permission of the alpha female. More than half of the newborn wolf pups will die by 6 months of age, with starvation being the most common cause. Over 1/3 of adult wolves die of starvation each year. If a litter of pups is orphaned by its pack due to their death, then another pack will raise them. Wolves do not kill wolf pups. They adopt them. The pack size is dependent on the amount of food and size of its territory. Wolves control their own numbers in that they protect their territory, and will kill non-pack members that threaten the pack or more into the who move into the territory. This means that when wolf numbers increase beyond their habitat, the population is maintained by an increase in wolf-on-wolf kills. So the wolves take care of themselves. They're not going to have wolf packs that are way above what they need to be. Wolf packs they will monitor themselves and they will take care of themselves. Now, if a hunter comes and kills the the alpha male and female, or one or the other, the pack gets all discombobulated, right? So then other members in the group will mate and have pups.
Oh.
So then there's more pups and more pups. But if the pack is maintained and only the alpha male and the alpha female are mating and having pups, and maybe only one other female in that pack is allowed to have the pups, then they're keeping a small amount of wolves. And they're able to hunt larger animals like, moose, elk. Yeah, they can take down the pack because they work together as a group to hunt. Now, when they don't have that pack and the pack is destroyed by hunters killing the alpha male and female, the other wolves they don't know where to go, what to do. And that's when the wolves will go after a calf, right? Because it's easier for them to kill.
Wow.
So if we leave the wolves alone, we will maintain healthy wolf packs in Minnesota and elsewhere in the United States, where we need to have them for future generations.
Perfect. Hey, Pinagigi Wendy. I want to thank Ogama and our guest Allicia and Robert Lilligren. We are the 7th generation
free Leonard Peltier.
Do you believe in ghosts? Ever wondered if aliens from other planets visit the Earth?